Welcome to CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Director General of the Industry Training Fund, Dr. Chuka Zonaiko, in an interactive session with stakeholders in Plateau State, has called for the training and retraining of more artisans. He decried the rate of unemployment in the country, especially among the youths, which has been directly connected to several vices that is affecting daily lives. Our Plateau State correspondent has details in this report.
The Industrial Training Fund, which has its national headquarters located in Jos Plateau State, is calling on the nation and its training institutions to shift a bit from producing university graduates to the production of artisans and skilled workers who will help to drive the economy of the nation and also reduce the cancerous unemployment challenges.
The training managers that it's important that we catch them young. There's no need waiting till students are in universities or graduating before you now begin to tell them you need to go and learn the hard work, you need to go and learn the skill. At that time, it's already too late. If you look at countries that are fully industrialized, you will see the trend. The technical vocational enrollment is higher than the general education enrollment. A lot of them are not struggling to go into the universities to go and study law, medicine, and all of that.
Chuka Zonaiko added that the unemployment problem in Nigeria is not subsiding because there are fewer skilled workers, thereby allowing foreigners to dominate the oil and gas sector.
When you see the number of those who are even graduating from the technical schools or the engineering department that are coming out, they are going into the banking banks. They are going to take up banking jobs, marketers, chief executives, and all of it. They are not practicing. They are not working in technical sectors. And that is why we're having this big gap. And that's why you see a lot of foreigners coming to take up the technical jobs.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has handed down a 3-month deadline to officers and men with potbellies to trim down or face the consequences. He handed down the directive at an early morning routine match exercise organized for the Nigerian Army personnel in Abuja.
Cases in the service, especially of those soldiers in the defunct Operation Zaman Lafia, the aim of which was to ensure discipline, regimentation, and justice in the system. The committee has concluded its sitting last week and has made certain recommendations that led to the reinstatement of 3,032 soldiers into the Nigerian Army out of 5,000 cases that were reviewed. The reinstated soldiers have shown their total readiness to be relaunched back into the theater to combat the insurgency and have now commenced training at the Nigerian Army Training Center, Kontagora, Niger State. This training is to reorient affected soldiers and prepare them for this closing stage of the operational aspect of the counter-insurgency operations with more weapons and new leadership.
Nigeria Immigration Service has unveiled a plan now to impose a penalty to the tune of 400,000 naira on visitors from outside the economic community of West African states who overstay the visa in excess of 180 days. According to a statement signed by the NIS Public Relations Officer Emeka Obwa on Thursday in Abuja, the new Controller General Martin Zabeshi unveiled the plan and other operational reforms at an inaugural meeting with 5 Deputy Controllers General, 29 Assistant Controllers General, and 56 Controllers. Under the E-Pass project, codenamed Trusted Traveler Scheme, all non-ECOWAS visitors to Nigeria who intend to stay in excess of 56 days will be required to register and pay a fee equivalent of $200, while those who overstay their visas in excess of between 90 and 180 days will pay a penalty of an equivalent of $1,000. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has said the first 100 days in office of President Muhammadu Buhari has reinforced his confidence that Nigeria is indeed on the path of progress and a bright future. He said in a press statement released by his media office that President Buhari's first 100 days in office clearly indicated that Nigeria is witnessing a marked departure from the culture of impunity and apathy in governance. According to Atiku, even within the first 100 days, Nigerians could clearly see real proofs that the country is moving in the right direction. But while Labour Party is not impressed with the information released by the presidency from the assets declaration forms of President Muhammadu Buhari and his deputy Yemi Osinbajo, it insists that the details are not in line with the laid-down procedures on asset declaration. The party's National Secretary Kayode Ajulo told CoreTV News that assets of the spouses of the president and his deputy should have also been listed. A civil society organization, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, says the public declaration of assets by President Buhari and the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has set the tone for a culture of transparency in governance. The group, in a statement on Thursday by its executive director Adetokunbo Mumuni, lauded Buhari and Osinbajo for the gesture, saying they had demonstrated that transparency in governance is not a mirage. It expressed the hope that this public declaration of assets by the president and vice president would bring about the needed transformation in the institutional framework for fighting corruption in Nigeria. Activist lawyer Festus Keyamo wants President Muhammadu Buhari to launch an investigation into the use of household kerosene as aviation fuel. He described the act as the height of men's inhumanity to men because of the implication of using kerosene to fuel aircraft. Keyamo said in an open letter to the president that revelation that it could be the cause of incessant air crashes in the country is reason enough to take a second look at the activities of oil marketers and airline operators. The lawyer argued that many of the marketers who get the product at the regulated price of 40 naira 90 kobo end up diverting it to the airlines at the rate of 140 naira a litre. Governor of Ekiti State Ayodele Fayose has joined the fray of people condemning the invasion of Akwa Ibom State Government House by the men of the Department of State Security, DSS. Fayose described the ransack as a plot by All Progressives Congress to subvert the popularity of the PDP in Akwa Ibom and the South-South region. Rashid has details in this report.
The visitation of the men of the Department of State Security to the Akwa Ibom State Government House at Uyo, the state capital, has elicited reactions. At a press briefing addressed by Larry Olayinka, the media aide to the Ekiti State Governor, Ayodele Fayose, heard on Friday in Ado-Ekiti, the invasion is a political plot by the APC-led federal government.
On the barbaric act of the DSS yesterday and other actions of the security service under Alhaji Lawal Daura in the last few weeks, one can conclude that Daura is taking Nigeria back to the 1994 era of General Muhammadu Buhari, and this is unfortunate. No doubt, the Director General of DSS, Lawal Daura, is acting out a sinister script of taking over PDP-controlled states in the South-South and Southeast by whatever means.
While the Ekiti PDP-led government expressed fear that it might be the turn of Ekiti State to be ransacked, the governor's spokesperson called for the sack of the Director General of the DSS, Lawal Daura.
If Lawal Daura continues with this use of DSS to harass, intimidate, and assault the Constitution of Nigeria, President Buhari may have to show to Nigeria that he is not a party to the use of the security agency to wish out his political opponent by sacking the DG DSS.
As reactions continue to trail the compulsory retirement of the agency's former spokesperson, Marilyn Oga, Nigerians wait for an official response from the DSS to clear the air on the Akwa Ibom Government House ransack. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
We'll take a break now and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. they need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man, we don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome back. You can get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CoreTV with a space and news. The Amakohia Orji Bridge has finally been revisited after several years of abandonment. The bridge that would have helped traffic situation in the city of Owerri could not, as a result of what residents describe as negligence on the part of both the past and present administration. Ajibade Awufeso has more in this report.
The Amakohia Orji Bridge that transversed the city of Owerri, the capital of Imo State, will have been the pride of many if only it has been completed. According to a cross-section of residents, the project that was initiated by former Governor Ikedi Ohakim did not advance, but has been a shadow of the promises it held in the past 7 years. Many in the state argue that the current administration ought to have given it more attention.
My name is Henry Dumalak. As we said, motorists are facing a very big difficulties in applying that route. Because so far, especially in the evening, if you move to that area, find out that there's a lot of hold up and a journey of 30 minutes or a few seconds will take you more than 2 hours to go through. So it's a very, very difficult.
It is believed in some quarters that the current administration of Governor Rochas Okorocha has not abandoned the project, which is evidenced by the current work at the site.
Of course, the commitment of the state government to have it fixed is very, very clear. It is one of the projects inherited from the past administration, and of course, if you take a very good look at the project, you discover it's still at this infantry level. It was still at a very low level, and it was a very sore point in the sense that it has caused a whole lot of traffic congestion within that axis. At the end of the administration, given the speed of work there now, we are quite certain that that project will.
If the work being done at the moment is anything to go by, it is safe to assume that the bridge will be completed in little or no time. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
Reports just reaching us now says the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Jos has upheld the election of former Governor Senator Jonah Jang as senator representing Plateau North against Aissa Sambo of the APC. We'll bring you details of that in our subsequent bulletin. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Most Reverend Josiah Idowu Ferran on his appointment as the Secretary General of the Consultative Council of the Anglican Communion Worldwide, and indeed the first African to hold the position. In a letter delivered to Idowu Ferran in London and on the occasion of his commission into the new post, President Buhari said that all Nigerians were proud of his elevation into one of the most important offices in the world of faith. The president applauded Bishop Idowu Ferran's emergence after a highly competitive selection process. He wished Bishop Ferran God's guidance and success at his new post in the Anglican Communion Office in London. Well, Nigerian entrepreneurs are pushing the frontiers of foreign direct investment of the African continent. Banker Tony Elumelu, whose $100 million entrepreneurship foundation has already benefited young people in 54 African countries, and businessman Aliko Dangote, whose investments span 17 African countries, are two Nigerians doing the country proud as drivers of African private sector-led foreign direct investment. Dangote had said Africans should drive foreign investment rather in Africa, stressing that there should be a departure, so to speak, from the past when Africans waited for foreigners to come and invest in the continent. During the recent inauguration of another cement plant in Cameroon, he said the plant is the largest greenfield project in a neighboring country with which they do not only share a boundary but also a long history of brotherly relationship dating from the colonial days. And to other stories now, outside Nigeria, a Syrian father on Friday buried his wife and two little boys who drowned as they tried to flee to Europe. 3-year-old Aylan Kadi was later rested alongside his mother and 5-year-old brother at the Mataz cemetery in the Syrian town of Kobani. Little Aylan drowned with his brother Galip, his mother, and at least 9 others while trying to cross in 2 small boats to the Greek island of Kos, just a few kilometers away. Images of a tiny body of Aylan washed up on a beach near the Turkish resort of Bodrum gave a human face to the high death toll and prompted a global outpouring of sympathy. Desperate and angry migrants had made to escape conflict and poverty, with hundreds breaking out of a Hungarian camp, while others set off on foot from Budapest, hoping to find sanctuary in northern Europe. More than 300,000 people have crossed Europe by sea so far this year, and more than 2,600 have died doing so. Many of those making the voyage are refugees from the civil war in Syria, now in its 5th year. In a latest report by International Organization for Migration, about 30 to 40 people drowned in the Mediterranean off the coast of Libya after a dinghy carrying 120 to 140 Somalis, Sudanese and Nigerians deflated, causing panic in board. Meanwhile, head of the United Nations Refugee Agency, Antonio Guterres, has called on the European Union to mobilize its full force to help the migrants. David Cameron is expected to allow thousands more Syrian refugees to resettle in the UK. The extra refugees are expected to come from UN camps bordering Syria and not from among people already in Europe. The Prime Minister has previously said accepting more people was not the simple answer to the worsening humanitarian crisis. Laura Kusenberg said Downing Street had found itself behind the curve amid public and media reaction to the UK's position. The Prime Minister, who is currently in Lisbon for talks with his Portuguese counterpart, is expected to set out more details later before traveling to Madrid for discussions with the Spanish Prime Minister. And now to some sports stories. Former Nigerian goalkeeper Joe Errico has said Nigeria can beat Tanzania when the two sides meet on Saturday in the 2017 African Cup of Nations qualifying match in Dar es Salaam without the team's captain, Vincent Eyama. Of course, the match is today. Enrico says Nigeria coach Sunday Olise has capable replacements in Wolves' Carl Ekeme, Sunshine Stars Ikechukwu Ezewa, and the Yimbas Femi Thomas. The former NEPA Lagos manager added that there is nothing wrong with Eyama's absence from the team because he knows his level of fitness. Meanwhile, CSK Moscow star Ahmed Musa has promised to captain Nigeria to victory against Tanzania later on today. He will captain the country in Dar es Salaam in the absence of Eyama. Eyama had excused himself earlier to attend to family issues. And outside Nigeria, Manchester United have hit back again at Real Madrid over David De Gea's failed move by reiterating that the Spanish club are at fault. Madrid President Florentino Perez has claimed that United took 8 hours to return contracts and felt a lack of experience resulted in De Gea's proposed move. Madrid have issued a lengthy statement supposedly detailing the events surrounding De Gea's move, which would have seen Keylor Navas join Luis Van Gaal's side. but United have now refuted the allegations from Perez. And still on sports stories, Tottenham striker Emmanuel Adebayo has been left out of his club's 25-man Premier League squad for the rest of the year. Adebayo has been expected to leave White Hart Lane before the transfer window closed on Tuesday, but Tottenham was unable to find a buyer for the Togo international. The 31-year-old former Arsenal and Manchester City star, who reportedly earns $100,000 £100,000 a week, has also been left out of Tottenham's Europa League squad. Adebayo has rarely been selected by Tottenham manager Mauricio Pochettino, who opted to axe the player from his squad despite missing out on a deal for West Brom forward Saido Berahino this week. Adebayo has been a peripheral figure at White Hart Lane since the departure of manager Harry Redknapp in 2012. Redknapp brought Adebayo to Tottenham during his last season at the club, but his successor, Andre Villaboas, quickly dropped the erratic striker. That wraps it on the news this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.